Hello, welcome to Talknovate. I'm Coach Ricky, your host. My full name is Rukiawa Onoge, but I know that's a mouthful, so don't worry. Coach Ricky is fine by me. I'm super excited to speak with you on this episode. Today, we're focusing on the tech space in Dubai. So, I got a DM by someone who's really interested in what the labor market is like out here, especially within the technology space. And all I can say is, Habibi, come to Dubai. As long as you are very ambitious, basically, the tech space here is very, very, very competitive. You know, one thing I love about Dubai, and I feel like one thing the whole world loves about Dubai, is it's big on innovation and it's big on just going extra. Like, whatever you imagine would be the top, they'll go above it. Like, that's just how it is out here. And it's a very diverse labor market. So if you're into technology and you really want to harness, you want to be in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, one of the cities that really inspires people to go extra, then you have to come with your A game. But I'm going to share some pointers that worked for me, as worked for people around me, and also based on certain research that I've seen online. So the first tip I'll give anyone, if you really want to level up your game in technology, boost your career in Dubai, is you have to optimize your CV. I feel like that's the first thing. You have to know do your research on the kind of job, or rather the kind of industry, or rather the sector under tech you want to go into, whether it's cybersecurity, data analysis, web design, technical writing, or the list just goes on. There's so much more, whether it's graphics, whatever it is, you have to do your research online, find out the kind of CVs that people use to apply for certain roles. And thankfully, we have AI now, which can help you actually optimize your CV. I'll recommend paying a professional to do it, but if you're unable to do that, I'm big on using technology to just make things easier for you. Basically, your CV should reflect whatever role you're going in for. And beyond just having a CV, one thing I tell people who are looking to apply for jobs, not even just in Dubai, in other big cities, whether it's New York, Lagos, Ontario, wherever it is, I always tell people to apply the pressure. And basically, it's a numbers game. Like, you literally have to keep going, repeat, go, repeat, and just keep going. Like, don't take no for an answer. No, it's just not an answer, basically. The third tip I'm going to give is networking. There's something I know to be true, which has worked perfectly fine for me, and I know it will work for you too, is surround yourself with the kind of people you want to be. So if you want to be a professional in this space, then you have to intentionally network with people who are doing so good in their careers in this space as well. Like, there's something my fellow Nigerians will say in Pidgin English, they'll say, follow who know road. So I'm just going to say clearly, surround yourself with people you want to be like, because who you surround yourself with, you become. And that's just the absolute truth. One thing I love about Dubai is there's so much global events that happen out here. Like, there was Expo 2020 in Dubai a couple of years back. Recently, I think towards the end of last year, there was COP28. Even this year, there was a Dubai World Cup, I think, for horse racing. And there's just so much events happening, global events happening, not just even in Dubai or the UAE, but across Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So there's so much people like A-listers and people who are just at the peak of their careers. You usually find them in this kind of event. So I'll suggest network, optimize your CV, and get into platforms or networking events or, tech events where you get to meet one or two people, and then you can just slide your CV. I mean, thankfully, nowadays we have QR codes, so you don't necessarily need to print out your CVs out and give people papers. You can just get a nice complimentary card and just share it, or just get their socials and their emails and interact with them and send them what you have to offer. Another thing I'll tell you, because this market is really, really competitive, you have to have a very relevant work experience. Even if you're just fresh out of college, you can still do that by okay, I'll give a short example. Let's say you want to go into data analysis, right? And you don't necessarily have an internship or work experience to back up what you want to do. So you can create projects like, okay, you want to analyze data for a certain market and you do it yourself and you put it in your CV. So that's just you giving like an experiment or like explaining like, okay, fine, I may not have the traditional like, 1 year work experience, but you've been able to work on certain projects individually. So people want to see that. Basically, your CV really needs to stand out because I did like a random, like a test, and I and a friend did a test on LinkedIn, application for jobs in Dubai. So you see like other countries or other cities, like maybe London, and they post a job there within the tech space. And after like, let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, you might see 10 applications, 50 applications. But in Dubai, if you see a post that, a job application that was just posted like a few minutes ago, like 10 minutes or whatever, you see like 200 applicants, 300, like 500 applicants. It is crazy. Like there's just so much. And I do get that because I feel like young people want to be in a vibrant city and the weather is great here. So I do get that. And it's just so much. So imagine having to be the recruiter, having to weed out from thousands of applications. So your CV definitely needs to stand out. You need to be very creative to get the results that you want. Another thing I would like to share here, which I noted down, is build your professional digital footprint on platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and Gulf Talent sites. Like when you, for example, LinkedIn, when you put your relevant experience there and you're active and you tweak it, you optimize your profile on all these job sites in a way that makes you seem very professional, recruiters actually reach out to you for jobs. So it makes the process easier for you. You've gone like a level ahead of the people who do the traditional, job applications online. And now people are reaching out to you. So you have a lot more options or a lot more chances of getting a great job in this field. Another tip I'm going to give you is know your what. Like know who you are, know your what, know what you bring to the table and add taxes to it. Yes, I said what I said. Because one thing about this market that I've experienced and a couple of people have shared with me as well is in most cases, you get to negotiate your salary. So if you haven't done your research and you don't really know what the market has to offer and you're just, really desperate for that job, you might negotiate for a salary way less than what you deserve, especially when you're an immigrant. Probably you're coming from a country whose denomination is a country whose money is probably lower than that of the United Arab Emirates. So I give an example. If you're an American, right? Obviously the dollar is higher than dirhams, but you have to be able to gauge like, okay, how you have to look at your living expenses. You have to look at what people are earning within your market so that you don't get bamboozled into negotiating something wrong for you, because what might be 5,000, what might be really great for a certain field for $5,000 in the US, that equivalent in the UAE, you might be shortchanging yourself, and you may not be shortchanging yourself. You may be too ambitious, or you might be shortchanging yourself. Get what I mean? So I feel like you have to really do your research so that when you have been able to scale through the initial recruitment process, you'll be able to negotiate a great salary for you. Next point I'm going to give is be intentional, be very intentional. One thing I love about the Dubai market, the tech space, is, it's very encouraging, especially for startup, for entrepreneurs, for techpreneurs, people who have like certain innovative ideas and want to just start a business here. So that's really great. But the thing is, in most cases, or rather in some cases, you would not be able to earn a certain kind of salary from a startup let me rephrase that. Okay, so you might be able to earn higher when you apply for like a multinational company than when you apply for a startup. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, but basically it just depends on what you want. So what I would tell people is be very intentional. Usually the jobs that pay higher usually demand like an extra work. Like there's some jobs you can just apply on LinkedIn, like one click away, or on Indeed or other of all this recruitment site where you can just click, and apply for like 100 in a day. And then there's some Fortune 500 companies where they're a bit more intense in their recruitment process. So you might have to like fill out certain applications, answer some questions, really think about it. You have to probably be creative. And that could take a bit more time. But then at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what do you really want? Do you just want any job, or do you want the job? Like depending on what your career ambitions are. So I would say be very intentional. Let me look out for one other thing I noted here. Yeah, be ahead of the game. Be ahead of the game by learning. I mean, the beauty of it all now is you may not have the resources to pay for certain subscriptions for news, but then we have the free YouTube out there where you keep hearing of, new innovative ideas and things that are happening all across the globe. So when you go in for that interview, you are one step ahead of your counterparts. And even apart from that, even when you're trying to build your thought leadership or your digital footprint, there's a way you position yourself and the way that you brand yourself when you've been well versed in that area and you know so much. And apart from that, if you want to come into an industry in a place like Dubai where they are just very keen on people bringing their A game, you have to be above average. And one thing that helps you to be above average is when you are intentionally seeking knowledge. So read journals, learn new things every day. Don't get used to the former knowledge you had. I mean, like, even if you have like 3 PhDs, like taking out time, 10 minutes each day to go through certain sites like Financial Times, Bloomberg, or even CNN, like what's the latest news on technology and stuff like that, it could actually save you in the long run and, help you get a great payday at the end. And the last tip I'm going to give is repeat the process over and over and over and over again. I know sometimes people can tend to feel a bit disappointed if, it doesn't work out for them within the first week or 2 weeks or within the first month. So just keep being intentional, keep being very creative, and just go the extra mile. And finally, if you want to come into the tech space in Dubai and you don't want to go through the route of, getting the traditional 9-to-5 work to work under someone, you can actually consider coming here and starting up your tech business. There are actually very flexible rates for the visa processes for getting your own business here. If you don't have the capital to just pay at once, there's so many consultants out there that are offering flexible, affordable payments where you can pay for the processes instrumentally every month. So it's something that you could probably look into if you want to go through that route as well. And I think in most cases, the visa processes, I think it's for 2 years. I think it's 2 years business visa. I'm not quite sure, but do your research online and share it out there for everyone to know. But yeah, basically just Google visa in Dubai for startups, and yeah, that's one way to get your foot in the game as well. Other things I would say is you may not necessarily be in the Middle East right now and you may not afford even a flight ticket or whatever, but thankfully, thanks to the post-pandemic era right now, there's so much like remote jobs out there, work from home job opportunities. So I don't want you to feel like limited by actually being in Dubai physically. You can be anywhere in the world. You can be in Zanzibar, in Turkey, you can be in New York, wherever, in Sokoto, or I don't know, any part of this world, and you can literally start applying for jobs anywhere in the world. And when you get to the level where they feel like, okay, they want you in, they can get your work visas for you, and then you just hop on a plane and you come over to Dubai. So be intentional about your search. Don't be discouraged. But all I would say, or rather the most important thing I'm going to tell you, is you have to definitely bring your A game. So that brings me to the end of this episode of Talknovate. I hope you've been able to learn a thing or two. If you have any inquiries, please send an email to talknovate@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Share this video or audio to, anyone you know who's interested. Share it, like it, comment on it, and see you next time. Bye.